Right, so this time I'm going to go for an attacking army. Some of the last videos I want to learn more about attacking. So here I've gone for a SS Panzer Kampfgruppe from page 108 from Grey Wolf. I've gone for the Viking version, so they're fearless trained in this list. So the list has got an HQ of 2 Panthers, 1 IC and 2 IC. It's then got the 2 combat platoons, 4 Panzer IVs and 3 Stugs at the back. They're supported by some NEBs to give me some smoke and some artillery bombardment. I think smoke's going to be important in this army to help move things forward if there was anything that was going to try and take it out. I've got a Panzer Spar platoon to help me move forward with recon. I've managed to bring in a 3rd platoon of tanks. There's a 3rd platoon of Stugs here, and then to move forward it's an Avklarings platoon in their half tracks, all machine gunned up, ready to move forward. So it's a fearless trained list, and when we're ready to deploy I will be rolling for a Panzer cannon and my Panzer IVs as well.
So that's 6 platoons, is it?
Yes.
Right. Okay, well, up against that armour we've got lots and lots of boots, basically.
7 actually. 7 platoons.
7 platoons, right.
7 platoons I've got.
Right, so what I've got here, this is Romanians, and you don't know if they're confident, reluctant, veteran or trained until the game starts. But the platoon makeup stays the same, so we'll start with the company command, which is company command, second in command, and then 2 Panzer Shreks. That, strictly speaking, makes this a German allied list, but it's not going to make any impact on this game. You can only normally take them with the Germans, the German allies, but that won't be a problem. Scout platoon, 5 rifle bases. Then I've got big platoon, which is a total of 17 rifle NG bases. And then what I call my reserve platoon, which is 9. Then I've got 2 sapper platoons, which I would want to have on the table at the start, so I can deploy these various defences. I've got a Pack 40 platoon. The Romanians can have TAC Recitas, which are at TAC 13, which is really good, and that's what I used initially with the list, but you can't put them in ambush within 16 inches, so for an anti-tank gun that's pretty useless. What you've gained by getting anti-tank 13 you lose by your opponent's armor going up by 1, because you've got a bit long range and they're harder to hit. So I went, no, I'll take Pack 40s, and you can put them on smaller bases. We've got mortars, we've got heavy mortars, we've got anti-aircraft. To be honest, in most games they won't do anything, they're really just to even up my platoon count. And then we've got this silly big formation here of 12 100mm Skodas. It can be quite effective. In artillery duels it's really effective if your opponent has got some artillery. I've only ever lost 2 artillery duels with it, and that was to armoured NEBs who basically I couldn't pin down. So this is a foot slogger army, which could be a punishing condition depending on what mission we roll. But there you go, 2 very, very different armies. We shall see what happens when we set up the terrain and then roll the mission.
So for this battle we've gone for quite a rural setting, quite a sparse looking table, but with some key features on it. So dotted around the table we've got some hills, so the hills are going to help block line of sight and give some elevation across the battlefield as well. Running through the middle of the table we've got the road. So the road allows you to go at 50% extra speed if you're a half-tracked or wheeled vehicle. Along the side of the road we've got some hedges, they'll give they'll give concealment. We've left some gaps in the hedges just so that it's not a double bogging check to cross the road, but it just does break up the road slightly as well. We've got a couple of buildings on the table which will give bulletproof cover. They've been well bombed and well shelled, so we can get some bulletproof cover for infantry in those. And around the buildings we've got a series of either ploughed fields or cornfields. So this will give you concealment in the field, slow going across the fields as well, and the walls will give you concealment as well. Bogging checks to go over the walls and slow going also in and boggin checks to go through the woods as well. So hopefully, depending if we're going up or down the table or across, there's a couple of obstacles to get across, some boggin checks, some concealment, but quite an open battlefield to run across in the rural setting.
So we're rolled the mission and we've got hasty attack. That's quite an interesting mission because both players are half off and half on. The attacker is in reserves and the defender is in delayed and scattered reserves, and that's a real challenge for an army like mine, which is on foot. If it comes on in the wrong place, it's not getting to the right place in a hurry. So I've decided that I'm going to defend this side of the table. My artillery park is an important part of my army, and I can get some degree of concealment behind these features, the fields, the house, the hill and the wood, so that's a good place for me to defend. It's also got an area over here where I can conceal a lot of stuff with a little bit of an open area, which isn't too bad, whereas over that side all the features are up against the table edge, so I'd have to be deployed in front of it. I'm not really going to get much protection from terrain. We'll go on to deployment next, and all the various roles that we have to do. The Germans have a Panzerkanonen role to do, and the Romanians have to roll for the entire army. So we'll cover that after deployment. Right, we'll set up the deployment zone before we show you the deployment here, because there's so much going on with this mission. It's quite busy. The attacker deployment zone is, as you can see here, but there is also an objective zone in this mission, which is that typical 8-inch box, as we call it, 8 inches in and then 8 inches from the side. And I have to place an objective in there as a defender, and I've put one in those woods. I've also placed one over here as a defender, put it right in the middle, because the attacker has got two objectives that they place, one here in this case and one there, to stretch me as much as possible and stay away from that central objective. One of those will get removed by Brian once I have deployed. I don't know what that's going to be. I've got an immediate ambush that will help me out in that respect. But as you can see, there's a lot going on, so we thought we'd show you the objectives and deployment before we put anything down. And by the way, just to make it clear, this band going along here is where the objectives are placed in this mission that the defender will be sitting on. So there you go. We'll move on to deployment, and we'll come back after that. Deployment finished. We'll talk through both sides one at a time. First of all, the Romanians put the big gun battery in here with a degree of concealment. Commander on the hill, so he's got line of sight. The observer is on the house at the far corner. In front of them we've got an infantry platoon, a big infantry platoon, 17 bases plus an attached Panzer Schreck. Company commander's here, so he can potentially affect 3 different platoon motivation rerolls. We've got the ordinary pioneer platoon in that wood, and then out here all by themselves was the elite pioneer platoon. I put the Pack 40 platoon down there on the immediate ambush part of the deployment phase, and you can see that my barbed wire, I've just strung it across the front to slow them down. I've got delayed reserves, so anything that will slow down, like those half tracks might have problem getting over it, the tanks will be slowed. There's potential for my artillery then to have more turns of hitting them. So the Romanians had to roll for my motivation. I got reluctant veteran elite pioneers. I got confident trained Pack 40s. The huge platoon ended up being a confident veteran platoon, so that's like 18 bases of confident veterans, so that's quite a strong unit. The pioneers in the wood got confident veteran, as did the artillery, and because observers were on the table, the 2 mortar platoons rolled and they got confident veteran. So there you go. Definitely 2 sides to this game, the way things are set up. We'll have to see what my reserves are like, and if they come on the back edge, or a 3, 4, 5 or 6 is what I need for reserves. So the Germans are looking a bit sparse just now, but Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention, if I didn't say already, this objective has been removed. The Germans didn't fancy trying to chew their way through all of that. So, your deployment, Brian?
Yeah, so I've got 7 platoons, I've got 3 on the table. Given the concentration in that corner, that's the objective I decided to move with his big guns and his large, confident veteran infantry platoons went. So I'm going to focus, I think, my attention on this side of the table with an option to swing round into the centre objective as well. So given that, unfortunately I got a barbed wire strung in front of me, but I'm going to have to go for broke. So I've put my Panzer IVs up front, and they're going to be supported by the infantry in the half tracks to rush forward on that objective. To give them a bit of cover, I've got cover from this side of the table from the hill, but to give me cover from the front, I'm going to use the NEMs to try and drop some smoke to give me cover moving into this little corridor. I've deployed my 1 IC, my 2 IC fillet across the table, really just to see if they maybe want to go off and start picking off some other little targets. I was hoping that maybe his guns would be brought further around and they could go after these Pack 40s, but I'll still have a go at those. But they're across here to just try and break up the attack in a slightly different way as well. So I'm quite outnumbered, but looking forward to this game and see if I can get onto the objective as quick as I can. End of German turn 1, it rolled for reserves but got no reserves, so hopefully that's not a sign of bad things to come. But just as the attacker started moving forward, so because of the barbed wire, slow going, so my tanks could only move 8 inches, but I got them up into behind the wood. The half tracks can only go 4 inches, so that took me up to the barbed wire. I did try and stormtrooper them over the barbed wire but failed, so they're actually stuck there at the moment, so I decided not to move the tanks further forward. But key in this side was actually using the nebs to lay down some smoke to block some of his anti-tank guns, and to also then block line of sight from his observer for the big guns across here, because I really don't want artillery coming down on me here. In taking shots though, I managed to hit 2 infantry bases which were marked here as well, but they made their saves. But it's just starting to push up on this side of the table.
One thing worth mentioning is that the Panzer IV stopped just outside of 16 inches, which means that the anti-tank guns can't see them because of the smoke and vice versa.
I then just started to move up the 1 IC and the 2 IC. So the 2 IC moved into the road, took a shot at one of the guns but failed to hit. He then stormtroopered round just behind the wall to give him some more cover. He's going to sit here doing some sniping. The 1 IC took a shot at the Pack 40 at the back of the table, managed to hit, again mapped with a marker, but he made his save. He then stormtroopered up a further 4 inches just to get a little bit closer. I can now stand still and start taking 2 shots. So started to move ahead, but my half tracks have been stuck behind the barbed wire at the moment.
Right, end of Romanian turn 1. The first thing I did was move around some guys. Even though I'm foot sloggers, there's not a lot of threatening machine guns on the table, at least on this side. So this large confident veteran platoon started to move up. There's an objective over there that I might be able to threaten. The pioneers in the woods, don't feel it's a great threat on that objective yet. I've still got a lot of veteran infantry around it and guns, so these pioneers are pulling back a little here, possibly looking to move over to help defend this objective. Didn't do any firing over here. I had 1 gun that had line of sight on the Panzer IVs, 1 line of sight on the Panther. Not likely to do a lot of damage there, so I'll stay going to ground and keep my my 3 up save. He's not got any recon on the table to lift onto the ground, so I'll try and keep him alive until there's things worth shooting. And on shooting, one massive artillery bombardment, failed to range him twice, got him on a 3rd attempt, but still managed to hit him with a 6, and then he saved, which is pretty much what happened with artillery against tanks, especially when there's only 1 of them. So the Romanians are on the move, at least for just now. We'll see what happens when they start getting machine gunned or potentially splattered by Nebelwerfers. So the end of Romanian turn 1.
Okay, so the end of German turn 2. So roll for reserves, got one set of reserves on. So I brought my platoon of Stoogs on to help protect this objective against the incoming infantry. So when they did come on, they moved 12 inches onto the table and then took some shots at the platoon in front of them here. So a mixture of shots then hit 3 stands and managed to kill one of them.
You
so
see
one stand's been removed.
We're marking the bases that are hit to help visualise the impact, and any bases that die we're replacing them for that turn only with a blank base, so it's clear what casualties have been.
Because they've been arranged in marker on my tank here, I brought him back into a bit more cover and then took a shot at his command team for his big gun platoon, but failed to kill him and failed to hit him, so nothing marked there. Across in the main, the thrust of the tank here, so I moved forward my Panzer IVs. Now I forgot to mention that I rolled the Panzer cannon for these and they got the Knight's Cross on a 1, which basically means they get to reroll skill checks. So they've moved up and actually had a go at the anti-gun team, the Pak 40s. So as you can see, all the Pak 40s were hit and managed to kill the command team with a mixture of machine gun fire and main guns as well. So everything hit, but the Pak 40s managed to make their saves because they're not yet fired, so they're still getting the bigger save. Tried to move up the half tracks as well. One got bogged down, which is a bit annoying, being left behind, so next time he's going to have to try and get unbogged and get across the barbed wire. And using the nebs, instead of smoking this time, I actually had to go at the infantry run across here as well. I managed to range in and hit the targets, but they all made their saves across there as well. I then had the last shot with the HQ on a gun team here, but again failed to hit, but failed to do any damage. I then stormtroopered, so I tried to stormtrooper my Panzer IVs back out of the 16-inch range, but failed to stormtrooper. I did though manage to stormtrooper up the front 3 half tracks here. And across here I just stormtroopered up to the hedge to give some protection, slightly to the right into the edge here to have protection as well. So at the end of German turn 2, killed 1 stand unfortunately, done a lot of hits, nothing, or 2 stands but nothing yet material.
Romanian turn 2, these guys tried to dig in the past. Romanians all dig in on a 3 up by the way. They're quite something that they're good at. Sapper platoon here, a pioneer platoon, sorry, is continuing to move up, trying to see if they can go over and support these guys over here. Now, in shooting over here, the Pak 40s had to open up. They managed to get 4 hits, no saves on the German part, 1 failed fire pistol, 3 dead tanks. I've not done the motivation actually.
Oh yeah, I'll just roll that now then.
Yeah. These guys have got 1 active and 3 destroyed, so 3 up, and they're fine. Got a 5.
One good thing that they're good at.
Normally fearless guys leg it at the first sign of trouble. So I also ranged in with artillery as the observer was free. I ranged in on the surviving tank. Believe it or not, just because of the way things were, I got 1 target under there, which I hit, but he managed to save. And that's about it for the Romanians. They don't necessarily do a hell of a lot of shooting. So that's Romanian turn 2. We'll see what the Germans do in their turn 3, and the Romanians will be rolling for reserves from turn 3 as well.
Yep. Okay, so this is the end of German turn 3, so I'm having to radically rethink my plan here, given the effectiveness of these Pak 40s and objective. And because I've actually killed the commander there and the Pak 40 is now basically stuck and can't move anywhere, I've decided to ignore that objective and start pulling back round the hill and aiming for the middle objective. So in doing so, I was unable to get this tank back in again, but moved the Panzer cannon back out of range in line of sight and try to get him round the hill. I moved my half tracks again further up, keeping them out of line of sight from the big guns. Unfortunately, still left one behind, he keeps getting bogged on the barbed wire. In the middle here, again, I just moved the Panther back out of the 16 inches to make it a bit more hard to do damage on me. I think needing 60s now to bail me from his anti-tank guns, but then used machine guns on his infantry platoon in the middle. As you can see, I've hit 2 stands, but they've made saves. Across this whole side here, there's been 4 hits on the stands, and all the saves been made, which is a bit annoying. These were actually hit when I used the nebs onto the gun in the middle. Managed to, as I said, on 4 stands, 2 made saves, 2 a hit, but made their saves again. So slight damage averted across that side. On here, my reserve roll brought me on 2 flame half tracks, so they moved up into the hedge here. They then took some machine gun shots into the platoon in the field. As you can see, done 2 bits of damage there. I then used the Stooks to open up on 2 of the guns at the back. Because they'd fired, their saves were slightly down, but as you can see, I've made 2 hits, but they've made their saves there at the moment. So no real damage, but really now starting to focus my attention, moving across towards the middle of the table, keeping out of line of fire from the anti-tank guns. End of turn 3.
In turn 3, didn't get any reserves. Nothing much happened over here, we just dug in. These pioneers, realising there's no longer a threat on the far objective, have started to move back. Some are in the wood already. Over here, the pioneers didn't unpin. I had a plan to go and assault the bailed out tank, but I forgot I was pinned. So the guns had to fire. With the way line of sight worked and the hits that I got, I actually managed to get the 2 remaining tanks. The artillery fired and ranged in on the Stooks, but only bailed one out. But it's ranged in there now, so it might start to wear them down. But typically the Romanians, there's not a lot of shooting going on.
Okay, so this is the end of German turn 4. Got my last 2 reserves on, so that was the Stooks and the recon platoon as well. So I've just moved the recon platoon initially up to the gap here. A subsequent stormtrooper move has moved them to the side, but they've taken a shot at this infantry platoon along with this set of Stooks as well, and managed to hit 3 bases, but they made their saves. As infantry is also shot by the machine guns and the flamers, so 3 hits, 3 saves across here. The Stooks then had a shot at the gun, hit the gun, but annoyingly made his save. I can't believe it, his saves are high, but he's still making them as well. And these Stooks across here had a shot at his other gun. As you can see, I've hit that also, but made the save. So
that was a fail firepower, that one.
Yeah, I've made some hits across here, but everything's surviving annoyingly at the moment. I had double timed the half tracks across here, and I've unbogged this one, and he's now trying to get round the obstacle to meet up with the rest of his group. But at the moment, they've just double timed across here. It left my Panthers where they were, because the Panthers' job is just to try and get into these guns. So they fired but failed to do any damage in this corner here, so I then had to use my nebs and bombardment. As you can see, I've hit 3, 2 were saved, 1 stand destroyed, so that unit's pinned at the moment. But the bane of my life at the moment has still been these packs 40s, which are just stopping me really doing much and changing my whole game plan across the table. So yeah, struggling a bit at the moment, but we'll see what turn 5 brings.
So Romanian turn 4. Yep. I got reserves on, and I brought on my smaller infantry platoon, and they're moving on to protect this middle objective. The pioneers have moved back into the woods. Nothing moved over here. I actually found I was in range of one of his nebs with anti-tank guns. So they fired. The anti-tank guns, they may well die, but they deserve a medal for what they've done in this game. They killed one of the nebs, but then ridiculously they managed to bail out both of those Panthers who had to roll a 1 at that range, and they did. I don't have anything nearby to kill them off, so they'll probably get back in and being fearless. Over here I decided these half-tracks had far too many flame dice, so I had to go at them with artillery, which ranged in and bailed out 1, even with a reroll on the firepower. The other one saved, and then I decided that my infantry were about to have their gun to ground lifted, so they opened up and got quite a lot of hits and managed to force a double bail on the bailed half-track, and it failed its motivation, so I got rid of one of them. So that's really it for me just now. I think the Germans are probably going to be massing very shortly for an attack. Everything's coming over this way, so we'll see what happens in the next turn or two.
Okay, so the end of German turn 5, as you can see, still now trying to make a beeline, probably too late, up the middle of the table here. So I kept the recon back here. First of all, they took some shots at the infantry in front. As you can see, I've taken or made 3 hits, but they made their saves. I've moved the Flamer and the Stugs further around. I did try with this platoon to go straight through the hedges in the field, and as you can see, one's got bogged. With the Flamer moved around, I've managed to hit one stand, but he's made his save. And in the middle then, I've really just gone for it with the half tracks and brought across the one I see as well. Again though, lots of machine gun fire went in, but only really hit 3 stands. Again, all made their saves annoyingly, so not much happening there. And the last thing I done was fired with my nebs into quite a nice juicy target in the back of the table here. There was probably about 7 or 8 stands underneath the template, the way they were bunched, but because I've got the reroll, so I'm only down to two guns, it really went against me, and as you can see I've only managed to kill 1 stand, so maybe a bit too late, but I'm going for the middle here, hitting things, but they're making their saves annoyingly, but just keep pushing and see if I can get this all in next turn.
Romanian turn 5, there's been another Romanian avalanche of reserves. 8 mortar bases have come on the table and some scouts. The mortars rolled for this corner here, so it's getting pretty busy. I've put the heavy mortars here and the medium mortars here. The scouts have come on in this corner, so I've decided they're going to see if they can annoy the nebs, and I doubled them because there's not much threat of direct fire against them. Appointed a new commander in the Pack 40 platoon. The second in command was there to do that. And then these guys in the wood dug in, the infantry that came on, were hit by the nebs last turn, unpinned and dug in. First thing that happened to firing was that these mortars, medium mortars, did direct fire, hit the half track 3 times, but it saved. It was fairly easy save, but I managed it. Then I bombarded the main artillery battery in here, hit the half track, and it saved again. And the Stugs took a bit of a beating. 2 from 1 platoon were hit, 1 of them destroyed, 1 bailed, 1 from another platoon was hit, and then everyone else was hit and destroyed, and everyone else has basically stayed on the ground, because I reckon there's going to be some action in here fairly soon, and we'll see if I can defend it in depth, or if he can push me off the objective. So turn 6 for the Germans next, probably going to be a crucial turn. So we're going to do the assault into the wood now. This platoon's pinned, so the starter platoon closest to closest, now that could be any of them, any one of them making contact with them, so yeah, bogging checks first of all then. So first one, fine, next one, bogged, and bogged. Now he's bogged.
One's bogged in the middle and the other 2 have got in.
In the counter-attack phase where we can still, the crew can get out and counter-attack.
The other guy was okay, was he? 6?
Yes. Now he can move up to 4 and he can get into there. He is out with 6 inches, he's not going to get a hit, but he can move in. So up another bogging check. He's fine. And then the Panthers, bogging check and bogging check. So they're fine, so they can move up to 4, and that gets them in a position where they can allow it for hits. So I need to do within 6 inches to see you to do any counter fire. So not necessarily do a lot of damage, but I might push it back. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now these are rifle bases, so they're going to get a penalty for being pinned, and you're concealed. So I'm basically going to need 5 to hit you because you're trained.
Trained, fearless trained.
Right, so that's 2, right, and then out of here they can shoot up to 6 inches. Now then, what has he got? He's a rifle. So I'm going to 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? But he can't hurt anybody, but they still count. So he manages 1, right? 2, 4, 5. Oh, well.
Push back.
Yeah. 5. So basically, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. One of your half tracks going to have to make 2 saves.
Right, one of the ones in combat.
Right.
So may as well take it on this one here.
So it'll be 0 against 2.
So 2 saves.
Right. So 1, it's bailed, it's potential destruction, so it's bailed, it counts as bailed out, 2 inches away. Next one will be taking 1. Oh dear. And it's bailed out 2 inches away as well, so it's probably go there. That one takes 1.
See my usual dice roll here.
Right. And it's bailed out. And then they'll be unaffected by the hits, but they get pushed back.
So you can see my usual dice rolls there. Failed to assault, push back, and everything bobbed.
And then rolled 3 ones. Oh sorry, and 1 on that one as well. Oh no, in fact he's
already bailed out, so
he's still on the way in, so he still takes a hit and counter fire. Just to see you make a save. There you go.
So everyone's bailed out.
That was pretty crap.
Pretty standard for myself, yeah.
It's been like this whole game. You just want to call it there, Brian?
I think so. I think I've struggled to really understand what I'm doing since I've changed my idea on how this worked, so yeah, I think so.
Right.
I'll do a round up of this round and then...
Right, okay. So, what happened for the Germans in this round? You're basically just getting ready for that assault, weren't you?
Yeah, so I tried to get my bailed in Stug failed to unball the gentleman in the wall. I did push everything else up though. I moved the flamer up past his 6 inches. He couldn't use his flames because I just wanted to start machine gunning this turn, but really had no effect. As you can really see, I've just taken 2 stands, hits which were saved and 1 killed as the shooting went in. Attaching on my 1IC and 2IC onto the half tracks to try and get a bigger assault moving in as well, but was pushed back on that. 2 other Stugs had moved up to take some shots on these guns. Hit the guns but managed to save.
Yeah, 2 sixes.
And across here again just tried to shoot with the recon platoon. Because I dug in really hard to hit them, but managed to hit 1 but made it save. So lots of hit markers on the table, or a few, but making other saves. Just annoying that as usual the assault goes in but as normal gets pushed back with the 5 hits or more, pushing it back to...
Could have gone in just with the Panthers, but to be honest, it's a wood full of pioneers.
Yeah, I would put as much in there as I can. I mean, I'm trying to learn to attack, so that's probably not the way to attack, but just push everything in to the assault as I can.
Okay, well, we'll come back in just a minute then, just with a summary. So we're going to call it there, as I said, guys. It'll be a 6-1 for the Romanians. They lost hardly anything, which is quite unusual for such a large infantry force. A lot of that was down to some good rolls by myself, some bad rolls by Brian, but I'm sure that will even itself out in the next game. I think this mission works quite well for this Romanian army. If your opponent's half off, it takes them longer to concentrate against you, so it gives the attritional effect of this army a chance to work with the artillery and such like, gives you a chance to get the reserves on. I'll certainly be using the Romanians again. I've got another version of the list with Russians, but it's a completely different list, and it'll take a bit of work to get using it, so I'll use this list for a while. And for me, the platoon of the day has got to be the Pack 40s. They managed to kill that platoon of Panzer IVs, killed a Nebelwerfer, and even managed to bail out, which is more to do with Brian's luck than anything, but managed to bail out 2 Panthers at long range. So, Brian, your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, so I enjoyed the game. First time I've used this list. So I went for the SS purely because we're getting fearless trained. I was able to get a few more units or a few more tanks on the table. I think the best purchase I've ever bought is a number of smoke markers I've got, 21 in total. As you can see, I nearly used them all up, the amount of dead tanks here. A couple of things I have learned. Obviously my Panzer Cannon Raglan, I think it was, for the Charge of the Light Brigade up into the Valley of Death. With the guns at the end there, he's going to be nicknamed there, I think. I did think I could have got rid of those quicker, certainly with the Panthers shooting in as well as the Panzer IVs. Totally wiped me out there, even with the smoke for the first round or two, so it took me a while to actually change my game plan and move across to the middle of the table. I think when I did move across, apart from getting pushed back in the assault, I think just concentrating this list is what you need to do. The idea being that if I can get the half tracks up supported by the flamers, 6 shots each, 12 shots you've got to two them into contact, as well as the machine guns coming in, and that should do a lot of damage in theory moving forward. So I'll just have to keep persevering on this one, but I just need to learn, just maybe concentrate, stick to one plan. If the plan has to change, quickly change it, and then keep going for another objective. I was just too wary of the size of the confident veteran unit that came in here. I think 17 stands that rolled to become confident veteran right in front of one of the objectives with all that guns behind it as well. But enjoyable. I kept bogging. My dice rolling as normal was pretty atrocious.
Terrible. 3 saves in that assault against count of 5 in 3 ones. The Panthers.
When the Panthers got double bailed or bailed as well, it was annoying. So, but no, I've got to learn. Just keep pushing forward. Concentrate. It's a good list. I think it gives you good variety with different types of tanks to try on as well. And the Panzer Cannon, I all rolled the 1. I could have got a 6 and got a lot more skills to supplement as well. But yeah, a front armour 6 against your anti-tank guns. It was a bit silly moving up that channel there on the left, but an enjoyable game.